I wanted to speak about sisterhood is with all the talk about networking and pursuing dreams with a lot of passion and unapologetic vigor, there's not that much talk these days about the old school sisterhood and peer support. And one of the things we're transitioning with in the women's group I lead, Ladies Fund, is from pure networking and educational to sisterhood. Because networking with, I guess, with an idea to sort of excel often leads a lot of women to enter spaces with a mentality of what can they take from that experience. Sometimes people even enter a Zoom call where they're listening and think, what can I learn? What can I take? What value will this experience bring for me? And we're finding at Ladies Fund that if you lead with what can I give, what can I share, and then the experience of both giving and taking, which is still slightly different than networking, because networking is often when you meet people with a goal in mind. And sisterhood is more about when you interact with other women for supporting one another. And it could be with any area of your life. So think of the lean-in circles. You could think of many of the sororities in the old school ways, or even in our Pakistani and South Asian culture, the community support that, that women can bring to each other in the way that both culturally as well as in a family structure, these things are almost natural. So how is this relevant for platforms that many of us are either involved with or leading? So it goes to the heart of the attitude. So sometimes in networking platforms, when women are seeing the other women excel, they view it as a form of competition. Or if there's a chief guest, they're like, how can we have our space, our moment, our conversation with the chief guest? How can we have that exchange? With sisterhood, what comes in is you enter the space understanding there's an abundance, that there will be enough time for you to meet and interact with the right people. There isn't a shortage of resources. And even everyone you're meant to meet in that space will organically welcome you. And we're finding that so much more powerful because now multiple banks, and of course we collaborate with the State Bank itself, are willing to give unlimited number of loans to us, to every and any woman who applies through us are eligible. So it's not that there's a small pool of money only available for one person and you have to be the first one there. Now our chief guests at our events are like, give my number to everyone. Anyone can contact me. And because of this base core sisterhood abundance, that we're here to support one another and cheerlead for each other, there's so much abundance coming our way. Whereas, when there's an attitude of aggressive time-bound networking, it was being in a very different attitude. So that was one thing, is attitude. The second thing is friendship versus professional friendship. When you enter a space looking for professional friends, which is something that I know that we've often led with in the groups that I lead, what happens is the quality and the number of the friendships you have is how many people start businesses together, how many people buy from one another or create B2B links and so forth. Whereas if you're leading with old school friendship, which is just, do we actually enjoy each other's company? Then the foundations of future professional relationships are so much more powerful, because first you're beginning with, do I actually want to spend more time with someone? Sometimes we're so eager to soar, to succeed, to achieve, that we forget that we will achieve much more if we spend time with people we enjoy spending time with. And sometimes people feel that the people they need to network with or spend time with are people who are already successful and sort of chief guests and so forth. But in reality, sometimes the person is going to be the most powerful person in that room hasn't yet become the most powerful person in the room. And if you start just getting to know people, you might find that you might end up being the most powerful person in that room very soon, as opposed to seeking out the most powerful person in the room. So that was another area I wanted to address. And loyalty and, working together versus peer support, first of all. So that's similar to that. That, you know, if you begin by supporting each other, we often in our power lunches and dinners have a needs and leads section. What do I need help with, and what help can I give others? And we always say 3 things that you need help with and 3 things that you're willing to help with. And be serious about willing to help. This is not about just coming into a space and taking. Then there's mentorship and giving back. And mentorship doesn't have to be cruel and like you have to take away from your Netflix time to go and help somebody who's a teenager. It can be fun. It can be creating mini-me's and nurturing people who are absolutely aligned and have interests with you. You just like the friendships, spend time with mentees who are similar to you instead of trying to create mini-me's out of people who have nothing in common with you. And once people are like you already and you have things in common and like attracts like, you'll be shocked how much you enjoy spending time with people. There's been this huge change in mentorship over the last 5 years where people are like, you know, it's not enough that you mentor someone. No one has time for that unless they're teaching you something too. And no, it doesn't work that way if you actually just enjoy people's company. If you go back to just the very basics of enjoying the experience of spending time with somebody, then everything else sort of falls into place, especially because you already are these ambitious power women, or you wouldn't be on this call right now. And trust. How is trust built? Trust is built over time. Trust is built over experiences. Trust is built through collaboration. Trust is built, like, even if you spend an evening with a bunch of people and you're sitting in the corner and you're speaking to one person, when you then meet the next person, how you speak about that first person, how much you share or don't share about what you had conversed about, builds the earliest stages of trust in a relationship. And not everything you say to one another has to be shared and stated, whether on social media or to third parties, to be valid. Sometimes experiences that are not seen by third parties can actually be more powerful. So, and that's often how movers and shakers move through the world. So keep in mind that, you know, trust is built through those stages. I was asked really to speak to people who want to be inspired, though I think that I could definitely learn more from many of the people here in the audience, but that's where these ideas were coming from, just basic things that trust then builds integrity. If the decisions you make are based on your own personal authenticity, integrity, and alignment, then you will find that the success that you seek will not just be there, but it will chase after you. It will chase after you because you are you. And people want to be around people who are real. Nobody wants to sort of get to know a facade, no matter how that facade is modeled after somebody rich and powerful and famous. The real you can still be far more interesting because it's authentic. And so Sisterhood, which fosters and contains all of the things I just mentioned, is ultimately a safe space to not only be yourself and be nurtured in, but to nurture others. And so that was why I wanted to speak on sisterhood today. Thank you for giving me the time and listening. I'm so thankful for you all.